I'm feeling antsy and want to start a new army. I like Blood Angels. Will it be Blood Angels? Let's paint a test model and find out. Howdy folks, I'm Autumn Witch and welcome to Bleeding Tree Gaming. If you've seen the last two Kit Bash videos I did, you'll know that I had enough parts left over from those projects to make a whole new character. Now, seeing as this was so straightforward to build, I'll be focusing on the painting instead and have decided, yes, he's going to be a Blood Angel. And yes, long-time viewers of the channel, like all 6 of you, will know I made a small Rogue Trader era Blood Angels army a couple of years ago, but that doesn't count. Because I chose to start with the black areas because I'm weird like that. I used Black Legion by Citadel to go over the black areas on the weapons, the joints in the armour, and the Imperialis on his chest. Then for the armour, I wanted to go back to a more traditional style of painting for the speed paints and the contrast and the slap chops, because I want it to look a bit cleaner than the more worn and tattered look of my white scars. So I gave it 2 thin coats of Mephiston Red, just like in the good old days. I grabbed one of the metallic speed paints, polished silver, from the army painter to try out. I left the areas I wanted to be silver white, and then I slapped the paint over it. It's an interesting paint and covers pretty well. I'm quite impressed by the result. It almost has an NMM type look to it. I may have to get some more. Now, the opposite, I dug out the old greedy gold from the army painter and went over the more elaborate areas. We've had this bottle in the house for over 10 years and all it needs is a bit of a shake and it's as good as it always was. Compared to current Citadel paints, the longevity of the army painters ones is pretty excellent. Most artwork I see shows Blood Angel Terminator helmets, even on captains, as red. However, given his rank, I decided a gold helmet would look flashier. I did all of his decorative bits in gold, save for the Crux Terminatus on his left shoulder. That will be the traditional stone colour. I kept it simple with the washes. All the armour and silver got Nuln Oil, keeping it in the recesses rather than slapping it all over the armour. All the gold got Reichland Flesh Shade to add some rich, warm red tones to it. The original colours were then re-established everywhere but the recesses because I'm a messy painter and I always go over. For highlighting the armour, I grabbed Vallejo Blood Red. This is from their Air range and it is already thinned but still rich in pigment. I went over the edges with it and also glazed it on some of the prominent surfaces where light would hit for a more subtle highlight gradient. For the finer highlights, I grabbed a Jacquero Orange. This is a base paint, so it needed a lot of thinning before coming in with the highlights. Even then, I found the contrast a little too strong, so I would smudge the lines with my finger to blend them better against the red armour that's already on there. And I only hit the full unblended orange on the corners where those lines meet. I chose Dawnstone for the highlights on the black once more, using my finger to blend it on larger areas, but using clean, sharp lines for the strongest highlights. I used an overbrushing technique on the Imperialis because picking out the individual feathers was a little too much for my notoriously shaky hands. I contemplated freehanding the chapter symbol, but thought better of it, so I grabbed a Blood Angel symbol from one of the countless Space Marine transfer sheets I've gathered over the decades. I painted the eye lenses dead white, then gave them a coat of Tesseract Glow, and then another dot of dead white for the pupils. The gold got a light dry brush of silver just to pick out the edges and add a bit more depth, going from the red recesses like the gold midtones and then that silver highlight. and after dry brushing I went round with Mephiston Red again to tidy up anywhere on the armour I'd accidentally hit with the dry brush. I love a scenic base. I basically painted the dead Nid in the same scheme as all my other bugs, the basic Leviathan scheme, and bunged a few more skulls on there because 40k. Because the model is push fit, I chose not to glue him to the base so I could detach him and not have to worry about his cloak or other flappy bits getting in the way. I decided on Grimdark City Rubble for the basing material. I had run out of Scenic basing glue, so instead I dumped a load of the mix on the base and used a brush to carefully move it around until it got how I liked it, and then I sealed it down with very careful, strategically placed drops of super glue. I did a lot of umming and ahhing about the sword. I eventually decided on blue, as the other colours on the model are primarily red and yellow, or gold. I started by coating the blade with Vallejo Dead White in 2 coats to get the best coverage. I then thinned down Talisar Blue, 1 part blue to 3 parts contrast medium, and basically glazed the blade with it, making sure it gathered on the flat parts of the blade and pulled away from the edges to give that gradient. Finally, I dry brushed along the blade with Vallejo Dead White, making sure the brush strokes went outward to the edge of the blade, and basically give that like crackly ripple effect. I then went a bit heavier around the power nodes to hint that was where the energy field was at its strongest. Now all there is to do is give it a blast of satin varnish. And here he is, finished and good to go kill more bugs on the tabletop. Although he may need some friends. What do you think? Shall I start a Blood Angels army? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, click the doobly bops below, and if you want to help the channel out, we have a Ko-fi account and an affiliate link for Element Games to keep us in hobby supplies should you feel thus inclined. We also have a Discord if you fancy joining us for hobby chat. The links to everything are in the description down below. Thanks for watching, I'm Autumn Witch, and I'll catch you next time on Bleeding Tree Gaming.